Welcome to Sundance 2025, everyone. I'm Christian Balvault, the digital director of IndieWire. I'm so excited to be here today with Marlee Matlin and director Shoshannah Stern from the new documentary, Marlee Matlin, Not Alone Anymore. Welcome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. Why now did you decide to make this film about your life?
I got bored. No, actually, you get to a point in your career, you've written your book, and now I was approached by American Masters at PBS to do a film about my life. And I said, sure, absolutely. And I have it, though, on one condition, that it must be directed by a deaf person, a deaf director, a woman. And so I offered up Shoshannah's name, and hers was the only name, and the rest is history, basically, simple as that. It wasn't the right time or the wrong time. It was just American Masters approaching me. That's what kicked it off.
Had you two known each other for a long time?
A long time. When I was 7, I went to Chicago and I was performing at ICOTA, which used to be the Center on Deafness.
That's where I started acting.
Yes, that's where, it's in the film where she started acting. And I had won a competition, and so I went to ICOTA, and it was the first time that I was away from my family. I felt very alone. And I went to ICOTA, and there was this woman. She was just glowing. She just had this aura of warmth. She came right up to me, and she took me under her wing and adopted me for the day, and that was Libby Matlin, and that was Marlee's mom. And so I just felt like our lives, had intertwined.
It's
our paths had
circle.
crossed.
It's a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a full circle moment. That's beautiful. I mean, so the title, Not Alone Anymore, Marlee, I mean, the film goes into such detail about the, all the, the many things that you've accomplished, the many, incredible things that, like just getting closed captioning, available in the uniform way that it now is. But for all of that, did you really feel like that you were alone? And at what point, when, with the title being Not Alone Anymore, did you feel like that you weren't alone anymore?
Well, when I did the movie Children of Lesser God, doing something that was, I didn't even know I could do it, making a movie in Hollywood with all these hearing people, it's amazing that I was able to accomplish that. And on top of that, win an Oscar. It was totally unheard of a deaf person leading a movie and winning the honor of an Academy Award. The world's eyes were on me, and the deaf community was amazed to see this and was inspired and congratulated me and celebrated me. It was the beginning of a new journey for me, thinking, okay, now the community says, okay, we're being seen now, and all eyes are on Marlee. Now that was placed on my shoulders. And that's, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, that responsibility, while at the same time I had no idea how to proceed. Being 21 years old, not knowing how to navigate with all these questions coming towards me, what it is I had to do, how I had to, I didn't understand. There was nobody to explain it to me, what I had to do. They just told me what to do. And at some point, I did my best, and things came my way. And that's, as you can see, it's in the film. And for Shoshannah to be able to frame that so perfectly so that people could understand how I managed to make it through.
It's like...
I didn't answer his question, but Shoshannah, that's why when I try to answer questions, I get lost in my questions, I'm sorry, in my answers.
Well, I always said, I hope my ultimate goal in making this film is that Marlee will not feel alone anymore.
And not alone anymore, that's right. Which means that I hope people will see this film, listen, watch, and give other people in the deaf community the opportunity to do what they want to do, what they deserve to get in their lives.
Well, the burden that was placed on you at the age of 21 to represent the entire deaf community in a way, like that you had the scrutiny that you were then under, like if you made any missteps, and then as was shown when you presented at the Oscars the year after you won, it's like that must have been just so daunting. That must have been like to feel that you have to represent an entire community yourself. I mean, did you realize then just how daunting that was, or is that something that now you look back on and it's like, wow, I don't know how I did that?
You know what? If I had to do it all over again, I probably wouldn't do it the same way. Just put my hands down to my side and speak. But yet, I'm not going to apologize for what I did back then, because I just didn't know. I didn't know, and that was a thing that, well, we all go through things. We go through life making mistakes, doing something that might upset the people in the community, but by doing something that might offend them. But I didn't do it intentionally. I didn't have any malice. I didn't mean to hurt anybody. And I wasn't trying to send a message to parents of deaf babies that the best way to approach communication is to teach them how to speak and not sign. There was nothing inherent in my message. I was just doing it because I wanted to speak. Simple as that.
In my perspective, I don't think that you made a mistake. I think that the system really manipulated you into feeling like if you don't speak, you would not ever work again.
That was my intention.
All those articles kept saying, Marlee, great talent, but her not speaking is going to get in her way. How will she overcome being deaf? And that's the same message over and over and over again. Like, oh, look at that woman. Oh, she's showing her age. How dare she not overcome aging? You can't.
I mean, they thought, well,
it's the same. How can you overcome being deaf?
So I thought, in my mind, that if I could prove to Hollywood that I could speak, oh, she speaks, they said.
There you go.
Oh, well, then maybe we can write parts for her where she speaks. That was my intention back then.
Of course.
Well, of course, that backfired, as you can see.
Of course.
I couldn't do anything right. I couldn't please everybody.
No, they set you up to fail, Marlee. It's not fair.
Well, it's shocking to see the condescension that was directed to you in a lot of the interviews that you had at the time. Like Charlie Gibson, when you were in Walker, Alex Cox's film, just emphasizing, oh, it's a small part that you're in. It's a tiny part.
Yeah, he's just like mocking with his lips.
I remember looking at him. Like, what are you saying?
When we saw that for the first time, we were alone together in the theater, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and he said, what? And his face, he's just making that face, smirking. What?
I remember looking at him, and I thought, you're kidding me, right? Are you joking? I was stunned. I was stunned.
You handled it well.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
You really did. There was so much grace. Marlee's always had so much grace. Hands up, kudos to her. I couldn't do it.
I could have walked off the set, but you know what? I was just polite, I guess.
You can't.
Not now. I don't think I would have done it now. No, not now.
But you can see exactly what you were thinking and feeling.
I guess I was being manipulated.
Yes. Yes, you were.
You're such a trailblazer because you not only have done so much for the deaf community, but truly, I can say that with the work that you did to get closed captions instituted, I think that has been such a service, even for people who aren't deaf. I can say for myself, just the way that my brain processes information, I often do need captions to take in all the dialogue in a film.
There you go. You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, world. You're welcome. Bars, gymnasiums, airports, you're welcome.
And it's an interesting thing because now you see that people all over the culture, non-hearing and hearing people, watch videos, watch TV, watch movies with captions all the time. It's so ubiquitous. It's across the board. I mean, what do you think of that? That even hearing people love closed captions so much?
You're absolutely right. It's not also for people who speak English or for people who are learning English as a second language. I'm a member of the Motion Picture Academy, and all the screeners now, you cannot submit a film for the screening room without captions now because of what I did. It's part of the system. So all the different languages, they're also captioned, so you can view them as well. Thank you to the Academy. Thank you for working with the Academy on this.
But I noticed that like usually what is common out of like all accessibility things that are in place is people are always resistant. People are like, I have to accommodate. Okay, it's fine. We have to put captions. And then they're like, oh wait, captions are good for everyone. It's just like ramps too. Like when they had to install ramps on curbs, everybody was like, why? Why do we have to do that? But now we all carry suitcases, we all have strollers, everyone uses the ramps on curbs. Accessibility builds a better world. And really it is time that we stop resisting it.
Well, Marlee, you wanted Shoshannah to direct this film. So you've known each other for ages. How did you collaborate together? How did you go about, condensing your life or just presenting your life in this way? Like, what was the give and take in your creative process for being like, this is what I want to put on screen?
I told Shoshannah, look, I want you to direct, and I'm going to do nothing with the processing of it all. I never showed up in terms of the interviews of all the folks that you've seen on screen. I never showed up. I didn't do anything. I had nothing to do with the editing. I had nothing to do with, nothing. It just was there. Mm-hmm. I trusted her 100% to take control. And I can say here, it wasn't easy for me, but knowing I was in her hands, I just went with it. I knew she could do it, and she did a great job. You can see the evidence the proof is in the pudding.
Well, it's
just, Marlee was like, here's my life. I'm trusting you with it. Here you go. And I wanted to make something as beautiful and as powerful as she is. Something that is honest. And I believe that love is objective. Love is not subjective. And so I believe that if you love someone, you're more objective than anyone else, anything else. And so that was my approach.
Raw, nothing sugar-coated. I knew it.
You can tell the truth with love, and I believe you can't tell the truth without love.